Guys, I think we found the Strafe that we have been waiting for. The Baiwei TW-1104 is finally here. And this thing blew me away the moment I took it out of the box. The scope, the wingspan, the presence. This Strafe feels premiums in a way that most third-party Bayverse Dinobots just don't. And yes, it scaled beautifully with the KO oversized Dinobots that we have shown on the channel before. Today, we're taking a closer look at everything. The build quality, the paint, the articulation, the accuracy, and how these figures stack up next to the bad KO oversized Grimlock and Scorn. If you've been struggling to find a Strafe that actually looks right in a Bayverse display, this might be the closest one that we have seen so far. And here's how the Baiwei TW-1104 Strafe looks in hand. I absolutely love how this guy looks. He looks badass. All of the details, the color scheme actually looks way better than the initial photos that we reviewed, which look mostly just gray and black in colors. But this guy have a lot of weathering effects, especially for the gray colors and the metallic blue colors going throughout. But you can see that he doesn't just come with a main figure. This guy comes with a plastic base, which is quite big. Here's the comparison between how big the plastic base in comparison to the figure itself. It's quite huge. Here's his 33 Stinger. You can see that it's pretty big, much bigger than Stinger. And here's how Stinger is standing on the base. So this base is useful not only for displaying Baiwei Strafe, but also for other Transformer figures. And with the base, we have this stand right here to be put on the base. And then we have some connectors over here. This connector are for the robot mode. This connector is more for the alternative mode. And then we have those two over here, which are supposed to be put on here so that it can hold the sword weapon. Then we have the detachable tail from Strafe. As for the base over here, they actually have some storage structure down here. So if you don't use some of the piece, you can put, for example, this connector piece over here. I can just put it right in there. It's just clip on. And then same things to those P over there. You can see that there's some hole there. So those holes can go into those ports over here. So all of them can be stored in the bottom of the base when we're not using them. So that is perfect. And of course, he's holding his sword right now. And I really love this sword because it can hold it very securely. On both sides, you have this tab over here, which can be tapped onto both of the hands. For example, this hand over here, you can see that it has the hole right there. And then the tab just go right in there. Definitely have way more modded details in comparison to the Deluxe class of 2014. Here is how the chest look like. We have some details in here too. Not as sharp as I would like, but pretty decent. Very good night aesthetics with armors everywhere. Even on the leg, the cross region, just for the size of the leg. Very similar to that of 33 Grimlock mode. Even the back looks really nice, very clean. And then of course we have the wings over here. And this guy, for some armor, they can actually come off very easily. Like this armor is the back over here, it just come up. And the two side piece can come up very easily too. But it's very easy to be put back onto, so it's not a big deal. The wing is really big. Look at this. So right now they all just collapse together, so I'm just gonna leave them like that for now, just for robot mode. In terms of articulation, the head can go from left to right very easily. It can look down quite a lot, and then it can look up quite a lot too. So really good articulation. It can also tilt side to side. Go into the arm, you can see that this have a very good ratchet jaw. I really love this, and it actually feels good too. It's very tight. It's probably have metal joints in here. And then going down here, we have a swivel right there. And of course, this is just for transformation. Can rotate on 360 very easily. And then going down to the arm over here, we have this hinge right here for the hand. And then it can also rotate on 360. And the fingers are fairly loose. They're not pinned together, so they can come up like this very easily. But can also attach them up there again very easily too. For extra fingers, the thumb is on a bone joint over here, so it can go up and down. It can rotate however it's like. That is have one more hinge joint over here. And then for the other fingers, we have the hinge right there. It's not pinned together, so have to be careful with them. But they have one hinge there, and then the second hinge here. So one finger, two finger, and three fingers. So those three fingers have the same articulation with two hinge on X fingers. Only the thumb have that bone joint right there. Same articulation to the other hands. Then we go to this chest region over here. We of course have a wedge swivel, so it can rotate all the way. And of course for the armor piece, they can be angled out a little. They are just on hinge joints right there. For the back piece, it can also hinge up and down like this. If you take off this armor piece, then the legs can go up further. But when we keep the armor piece on there, it can go only around that far. Not quite full split, but I think it's good enough for most of the holes that we're gonna put him in. And then go down here, we have the leg swivel right there. And then go down here, we have this more than 90-degree band for the knees. And over here we have another ratchet jaw. This is awesome. Ratchet jaws everywhere. And then going down here, we have a big die-cast metal here. The feet, it actually really ties the bone jaw on the feet. So of course it can go side to side quite a decent amount, and then it can rotate on 360. And then of course for the wings can flap up and down. Right now they're just on big hinge right there. They have pin in there. We can separate them out because this is the wing from the Dino mode, which is huge. Here's 30 series stinger. You can see how big this wing is compared to Deluxe class figures. One figures I want to put him right next to, that is the old KO oversized Strafe. It's 28 centimeters tall, so you can see that it's pretty much the same height. So if we look at this guy and if we count to the highest point that he has, which is the top of the Dino mode head, and this guy is taller. But if we look at the top of the robot mode head, like so, they are around the same height. This head is smaller and it's taller, just thanks to the spiky piece over here, but pretty much they're the same height. That one have a bigger head, and in general it just look a little bigger. But this guy is way better in terms of quality, articulation, just everything. This guy is very loose, can barely post him, and the material is like really lightweight too. But yeah, this guy is very cheap, and this guy is like twice the price maybe. But I think it's definitely more worth it than this version over here. But in terms of concept art, this guy definitely comes with the better weapon. From Age of Extinction, the concept has that he has both the sword and the crossbow weapons over here. So this guy only has the sword. For the die-cast part, they actually can be visible in the bottom of the feet for Strafe over here. Like those two pieces, they look shiny metallic because they're made of metal. And then those three toes over here as well. And here we have Strafe transformed into his Dino mode. He looks incredible in his pterodactyl mode. Firstly, you can see that he has way more articulation than the old version. So that's why I can displace him in his collapsible wings. The old version cannot collapse the wing at all. This guy have a very big wingspan. It's actually big enough to cover my whole review space. But I really like to leave it collapsible like this. And look at the head. All of them have red neck articulation, can look everywhere. Look at the details. Look just amazing. The twin tails, the legs, everything feel great. Everything locked together, all the jaws are really tight, so I can display him however I like. Look at that mouth. It can open so widely and it can look up like a lot. Here is our reverse version. The KO oversized of the Deluxe class from Age of Extinction. You can see that this is a KO oversized, so it's really big too in comparison to this Baiwei Strafe. So if we just look like this from the front, that it seems like the old one is kind of bigger, but it's way lighter in comparison to the Baiwei Strafe. The head are way bigger from on the old one, but then it doesn't have any mouth articulation here, and the necks barely have any articulation too. The wingspan, if we spread out the new one, you can spread the wingspan out like so, and can just lift the wings up. So there you have it. This wingspan is huge. It's covered my whole review station and even beyond. You can see that the new one actually have even a bigger wingspan in comparison to the old KO oversized version. And then let's bring in some small figures. Here is our KO 30 series high octane Bumblebee, the same exact size as the 30 series Bumblebee. And here is our 30 series 02 Stinger. I think the scale worked out pretty nicely. Not perfectly similar to the robot mode, but this is as best as it can get. I don't think the Titan class will be even bigger than these two guys. And definitely this guy is big enough so that he can actually bite the head off from Stinger. And of course, Stingers can ride this Strafe too, similar to Bumblebee. The scale are definitely the bright side of this Baiwei skip as well as the old KO version. So in terms of articulation inside the Dino mode, as I mentioned before, out of the head, they actually have quite a lot of joints. So it's have a hinge over there that can go left to right, and then go out here, we have this hinge right here, the first joints of the neck, and then just a little above it, we have right another hinge here. So it have double hinge joints for the necks here. So it's allowed to go up a lot. And then as the next here, you can also have another hinge there. So it can go up all the way like so, look up 90 degrees. which is perfect. And then this next over here can rotate around, and then up here can also rotate on its own joints, and then down here it can also rotate from left to right like this. So there's a tons of choice in the necks, and of course the mouth can open that big and then can be closed like this. Exact same articulation on the other head, and we still have the finger articulation on those 3 fingers on each of the hand. And then as for the wingspan, they still can flap up and then they can go down, and you can still hear the ratchet joint. It's really hard, so I have to try to be careful not to break anything here. And of course the wingspan, usually we just collapse this right here like so. His wingspan is too big, so this is actually much more convenient for displays. And then for the tails, of course, we have rotation right there. It can rotate, and then have 1 hinge here, have another hinge here, second hinge, and then have the third hinge here. So have 3 hinge in total, and it's exact same articulation for the 2 tails. The Baiwei TW-1104 Strafe is easily the best scale strafe on the market for 30 series Age of Extinction displays. It finally looks right next to the characters that he actually fought alongside. With 30 series Deluxe, the scale is spot on. Bumblebee, Stinger, Rip, Crosshair, Optimus Ram, and Lockdown all look perfect next to him. Just like the Hong Kong battle scene, Strafe feels like a true Dinobot air unit instead of the undersized Age of Extinction Deluxe version, where he really shines is with the oversized Dinobots. BMB oversized Grimlock, BMB oversized Scorn look incredible beside him. The wingspan and the height give you the most accurate Age of Extinction Dinobot team silhouette that we have ever had. And when you put him next to the full Age of Extinction Autobot squad, he completes the displays beautifully. This is the definitive Strafe for any Bayverse shelf. If you enjoyed this, subscribe for more Transformer news and figures breakdowns.